So go ahead.
Okay. I'm Becca Perry. I live off of Ivanhoe and
White Fire, East Howard.
Jen Spencer, I live on Benton, Washington.
Rosewood. Joan, I live up just my name's Robin Avedon. I live off of Howard, and I'm running for the River Road Park, one of the director positions, number 5. And I have my email on there, and also I'm on the League of Women Voters website if you want to learn more about me. I got my ballot today.
Would you say your name?
Robin Avedon.
Thank you for that.
Oh, Pat Riley, I live on Maryland.
Brenda Wills, I live at the end of Oakley at Riverside.
John Dolcher, I live off of Park.
Linda Ludwig, Oak Drive.
Allie Anderson, Belton Drive.
Horseshoe, Sunny Drive. Where did I Ross? Golden.
Adrian Rosso, Willow Street.
Lynn Lockhart, okay. My name is Ray Phelps. I actually live in Budley, but I'm taking on the 14.
I'm Cameron Malmenfeld. I live up on Spencer Beach, but
And Tim Glick, I live in Redmond.
Jenny Hilton, I live in Howard.
where do you want to introduce yourself?
You're the last.
You're the last
person. Mary Lane.
I'm Claire, and I live on Hornby.
Yes, that's true. I live on the road. So,
Walking halfway.
Kylie.
I live on Hawthorne.
Okay, a couple of questions before we start with some announcements. How many of you are here for the first time tonight? Great. How many of you have home gardens? How many of you have a group garden? How many of you went to the river celebration last summer? Oh, wonderful. And how many of you have seen Mike's dance crew down on the river on Sundays? Okay, I just wanted to get a little bit of a feel for who was in the room. There are a few people that have been doing some things in between our last meeting. And so I thought I'd let them give a brief report. Laura, do you want to start out with LARs, local access roads? And you all that were here last meeting heard about that.
Yeah, the March 3rd meeting was on local access roads. How many of you are already familiar with local access roads? So some of you, local access roads, there is this random subset of roads in River Road and Santa Clara that the county does not maintain. They did not take these roads into the county road system decades ago because they didn't have any set standards or process for doing so back then. So homeowners are stuck having to maintain these roads, and most homeowners aren't even aware that they need to. I don't remember your name, but you live on Rosewood. Yeah, what I'm very familiar with.
Yeah, someone left a card on my door.
Good, yeah, good. Rosewood is a through street between River Road and Santa Rosa. It looks just like Court Drive 3 blocks to the north, but Court Drive is county maintained, and Rosewood the homeowners are maintained. So we've been kind of working to try to convince the county board of commissioners to take these roads into the road system in the short term. And then the long-term plan is for the city to eventually annex all of the roads. That's different from private property annexation. It doesn't affect property taxes. But the RRCO board, heard homeowners' concerns in that meeting and voted to send a letter to the county commissioners urging them to take the roads into reverse. Given the unfairness of it, given the burden of the expense, the potential liability. all of those things are concerning to our as well. So we're working on it. The Board of Commissioners had a work session on local access roads last week. So they're hearing us. We've been going and testifying about once a month. So they're hearing us. They had a work session. It's kind of discouraging. Public Works is very much against taking the roads on, and they were presenting. So they presented some information that wasn't actually true. Like they said, our roads were built, developers built substandard roads to save money. Well, we know the roads aren't substandard. They look exactly like how to maintain roads. So we're going to keep working with commissioners to try to fix that. That's about it. If anybody's interested in signing the county and/or city petitions that I brought last time, I'll leave them on the table over here. I'll also have a mailing list sign up if everyone wants, if anyone wants to just be kept in the loop on what's going on. We'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
I just I read Pat Farr's comments in there. And I looked at this, just because you're in the city doesn't mean fair. And if they do, they charge all the homeowners for the costs.
Well, you must be on like the city's equivalent of a local access road. Because that isn't typical for a, you know, it's typical for a city. I thought you were gonna say that city doesn't necessarily maintain their roads well, which is another issue. So,
I think that whatever to do.
okay, I'd be interested in what's your view on.
I don't know, heritage.
We need to.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Lizzie, do you want to talk a little bit about LCD?
So my name is Linda Lovick, and I'm making a project that is sort of private, but anyone can join in. And I'm trying to start to work with the RRCO Transportation Committee and build up some more steam. My concern is returning a bus line to River Road, like the inside of River Road neighborhood, and particularly to serve the recreation center and park and pool and those facilities there that are very community oriented. So, yeah. One of my colleagues and I attended the Lane Transit District commissioners meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they seem like under the new directorship, Jameson, what's his last name? Auden. He seems to be open to it, and so we've even had somebody from their team contacting us back. So that looks at least positive. I'm not saying promising or possible, but they're not saying, no, we're never going to think about it. And, you know, it's at least they're willing to talk to us about it. And the other thing I was going to say about that is Lane Transit District has on their website now, and it was noted in the newsletter, a survey. And it's very easy to access. If you just go, even on your phone, you don't have to go on the computer, go to Lane Transit District, and right on their home page, right at the top, it says, take a brief survey, and click on the button. And the survey is up and open until May 18th, I believe. Anyway, if you go to Lane Transit District website, you'll see the opportunity for the survey. They'll ask questions, you answer, and that'll also be an opportunity for you to chime in on, yes, we need a bus inside River Road to be reinstated again. It would be really lovely for all kinds of people. Yes.
On park, that number 55 line, did it go to the general park?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, they have one part.
And I should add that the River Road Recreation District is very much in favor of reinstating a bus line that goes to the rec center. And so they're already an avid partner as well. It is, and they've come and checked it out, and taken photographs of it, and oh, well, all we need to do is just polish it up a little bit. So
There was another question?
I just wanted to let you know that the Lavender Center would probably be an ally for you.
Thank you.
So check it out.
Maxwell.
Yeah, Maxwell.
Okay, great. I'll,
You know the name that they call it.
440
440 Maxwell. It used to be the United Methodist Church on Maxwell.
okay, great. Thank you for that.
Anything else?
Well, I just wanted to say on a different topic, our very own Mike, whatever else he does, he is part of a small gang of people that produces concerts. And when he produces concerts, please pay attention. He was part of who brought the Ukrainian ensemble a month ago. It was out of this world. I'm telling you, transformative. Thank you.
John, do you want to talk about Public Health Development Standards Committee?
Sure, just one second.
While he's doing his 1 second, I will tell you that we had a board retreat and elected officers for the board. Beth and I, welcome, come on in. Hi.
I can't stay, but I'd love to leave a couple chocolate cherries. You're so
Okay.
kind. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Anyway, okay. So we elected board officers and Beth and I are co-chairs. Terry is the secretary. No,
Treasurer.
treasurer. No,
No,
secretary. Terry's the secretary. Michelle's treasurer. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we also revised the bylaws for the conversations that we've had in several meetings here with everybody, and those were posted, and we need to have the final okay vote from y'all tonight.
So why don't we go ahead and do that?
Okay. Raise your hand if you have been come to a RRCO meeting in the past year. Okay, you guys are eligible to vote. So,
Is there a motion?
is there a motion to pass
Are
it?
you eligible to vote if this is your first RRCO meeting?
No, you have to have been in the past year. Okay. So, yes,
I move.
oh, you want, okay, go ahead.
I move that we vote to accept the rewritten
Bylaws.
bylaws.
Yeah.
As presented.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A second. Seconds?
I second.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Now, you let me count.
Yeah, that's fine.
You need to go count. You want to
I'm
count?
sorry, can you read again? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. Okay, 15 for, and opposed, and none. Thank you all. That little bit of business is taken care of.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Thank you. Beyond toxics, I assume you guys know about that. I never sit. Thank you.
John's having knee surgery later this week.
Yeah, Nancy forgot I told her that.
You did tell me.
Anyhow, Beyond Toxics is working with the nearby neighborhoods to the railroad, after Bethel, Train Song, and hopefully us, to bring the city of Eugene to come to the Lion of Judah Christian Center on 2600 Wood Avenue on Thursday, May 15th, from 6 to 8 p.m. to talk about public health standards that the city is considering. This is a result of the issues around J.H. Baxter, and they're hoping to tighten down what is allowed by operations that are close to residential areas. Most recently, the issue has been that a company is hoping to get permission to offload biofuels next to the rail yard over in the Train Song neighborhood. So on the 15th, the city's going to come to talk about those standards. They may not be after the fact for that off ramp road in place, but we got to get them in place for the next time that comes around. So the city will be there to present information beyond toxics, Train Song, and Active Bethel. We have not engaged yet because we don't have a representative. So this is for somebody if you're interested in those issues
and you like River Road to have a role, then please talk to Beth about being the representative for the neighborhood.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. John has been representing us. If there's somebody that could take that on, like I said, he's having knee surgery and won't be able to participate in that particular meeting.
Sure.
So if somebody's interested, Linda, are you?
In principle, but no. I was just gonna ask, could you say again where the meeting is gonna be, Ryan?
Sure.
It's in the newsletter, if you haven't, newsletter, so you can.
Oh, okay.
But very quickly, the line of Judah Christian Center, 2600 Wood, on May 15th, from 6 to 8 p.m.
That's in a way for me. But train's on me, but.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, and again, if somebody's interested, let me know. It'd be wonderful. I'm not able to participate in that. If some of you are and could report at our next meeting, that would be wonderful. And then I guess the only other thing that I have is we had information at the last meeting on the neighborhood action plan. We've got a committee formed with River Road and Santa Clara. We're meeting later this week to determine not specifics, but rather to find out what people are interested in working on and what our process is going to be in terms of engaging the neighborhood in the 5 areas that were identified in the neighborhood plan, and how we engage with the city so that we're sure that as they're making decisions that might impact our neighborhood, we're involved in being able to bring the voice of the community to those decisions. So I'll keep you posted on that as we move on. John?
You folks are probably aware that the city of Eugene is working hard to redevelop a new budget after their previous budget proposal is going to remand if they don't change things. The new revised proposal looks very dire for neighborhood associations. The city in the past has given us money to communicate with our neighbors, et cetera. There's, I think, 2.83 people in that program that are slated to be removed. And as best I can tell, it looks like there won't be any funding for communications either. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll keep people informed. It would be very helpful between now and June 30th when the new budget is approved. We'll let folks know how important neighborhoods are to you.
Thank you, John. And we'll keep you informed on that. There's an organization called the Neighborhood Leaders Council that both John and I attend as representatives from River Road. It's the opportunity for the leadership from all of the neighborhood organizations. Our neighborhood in Santa Clara are probably impacted as much as anybody by this. And so we're trying to determine, is there a way that we can continue to fund neighborhood organizations because we see the value in them, even if the city money goes away. And there's still some question about, because we get 60% of our funding from the county, 40% from the city, what is going to happen to that county money as we move forward? So we're trying to sort through all of that, and hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have some answers. And our mayor, Karin Knudsen, has been invited to our next meeting. I'm hopeful that that will work out and perhaps bring in some of the rest of our elected officials to that meeting to give our voice to their decision making, and also to maybe have pros and cons of the fire fee that may or may not be on the ballot. Will help by the end of June. So I'll turn it over to you.
Nothing's going on here. I want to welcome Becca to take the floor, and you guys have minutes.
All right, so what I would like to do is have everybody stand up and let's push back to the chairs. We'll make a circle for here. Oh, okay. Once I get in a circle, I'll tell you about the best. Yeah, we're gonna make it like this. And select the chairs. Let's not increase it. I guess this could work. I had envisioned we all be over here, but I think this is okay. I know it's fine. I think it'll work. So, My name is Becca. I am a therapist in private practice, and I've also participated in community organizing and games and connection activities for probably about 30 years now. And I'm involved with Micah's in terms of ecstatic dance and other things that we offer. So get on his list and you'll be on my list. So we're going to just play a game real quick where somebody's going to step into the middle and say something about themselves or their identity. And I recommend that you don't go any more vulnerable than you want to. Just, check in with yourself if you're going to share something. It can be something surface, it can be something deep, but just check in with how you feel about actually sharing that thing. And then anybody else who shares that attribute or that identity will step in with you. And so it's kind of a way for us to kind of like what they were doing at the beginning of kind of like seeing who's here, seeing what we know about each other. So I'll start with one. Let's see. I have children. Step back. Somebody else can go and say something about yourself.
I like to grow vegetables.
I like to grow flowers too.
My latest epiphany is I think I'm addicted to gardening.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I was just finally agreeing.
I love my dog.
Can we join your group if we love our cat?
There we go. There we go. I like walking along the river.
Yeah. I like taking a boat in the river.
Oh, yeah. I love that for you.
I like riding my bike on the bike path.
It's like swimming in the river.
Nice. Yeah.
Waiting. Yes,
I like bird watching.
I like the wood especially.
C'è qualcuno parlando italiano?
See, Jay?
Ah, Terry.
I like the ocean.
I'm really fucking upset about the politics.
Oh,
I'm concerned that our park district's tax base is shrinking, and I worry. Because it's the best park in Greater Lake.
well, I don't think. It's a great park.
Oh, on the good side. I don't feel safe walking on some of the roads around here with my dogs.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, walking my dogs, I don't feel safe walking on some of the roads around here that are narrow with double yellow lines and sidewalks.
Oh, yeah.
accessed by river.
I'm looking forward to the next river festival next fall. I enjoy learning from other people's children. Yeah, I don't have kids, but I learn from my neighborhood.
So I enjoy learning from my grandkids.
I enjoy taking my grandchildren to the river.
Thanks, everybody.
Are you next? I think. Yes. I'm next.
Thanks. Sit down button. Okay. So my name is Brenda Wills, and my commitment to the River Road community is to be the team lead for the river celebration. I've been on that community for a couple of 2 years, and so I'm the team lead this year. I have a little take-home date saver and a way you could be a part of the team that I'll pass around if you want one. The best way to tell you about the celebration, which will be on the 7th of September, that's the first Sunday in September, from 11 to 3, is to show you some pictures about us in the past. The celebration is a neighborhood celebration. We don't invite everybody from other, there are people we don't invite to have tables because we fill ourselves up with local businesses or local connections like the library or the Parks and Recs or our local bike shops, the Lavender Center. We have places where we share produce and seed exchange. We have, we make sure it's bike and foot friendly. There's really no place to park at this river celebration. So we don't invite the whole city. It could be quite a challenge. We could create quite a mess. So it's our sort of small, lovely thing. Last year, there were 400 to 500 people in attendance. It's, so you're all welcome to be there, and it's very interactive, and bikes drive through and walk and are walked through. There are bubbles and there are conversations that happen in all kinds of places, both in the Hazelnut Grove. Do you all have a sense of where that is? It's at the end of McClure. So we go from the end of McClure all the way to Razor Park. And this year we're going to expand. I'll say more about that in a minute. In the Razor Park area, Julie Hume organized about 10 tables, and they included bee honey tasting and bee watching. There were lots of different places where you could learn about various organizations, Willamette Water Keepers and others. And they are river keepers, I believe, instead of water keepers, sorry. But you can see people having fun just learning from one another. This is the produce and seed exchange area. And there were plants to take home. One of the reasons for moving back to 11 to 3 is 4 o'clock in the afternoon for 2 years in a row has been really hot. So we're hoping maybe a little earlier will be better weather. We had 2 different bike shops, Clinks and the electric bike, giving free tune-ups or checks on people's bikes. And then over in the Hazelnut Grove, there were 20 different groups. One group was having just conversations, sitting in a circle. Others were dancing around with bubbles. There were all kind of conversations that just happened in front of a permaculture display or other things. The local library came, and there were people who didn't know much about the library, and they had a really strong presence. We had a first aid area, and there was a group. Claire, can you remind me who the name of the group that did the contest? The contest.
No, I don't.
Okay, the contest was, imagine that we've been in an emergency situation and you've been locked at home for a week. What food would be left in your pantry? Okay, now, how will you make a entree and a dessert and a main dish out of those 5 items that you just picked off the shelf? And these 4 or 5 contestants made something out of what was left. These were, and then there were judges, and they had to go defend their work. It was quite fun and entertaining, and it was a way of getting, these are teenagers that live at Riversong who found that was a way for them to get involved in the conversations. And of course, we made cider out of donated apples. We will do that again. Bring your own bottle and take home some cider. So we also had over $1,000 worth of donated prizes from businesses around here, mostly south of the Beltline. I don't think there's anybody north of Beltline that I gathered from. Abby's Pizza gave us a bunch of different things, the Dairy Mart, but also the bakery, the Mexican bakery, the new taco place, the car shop across the street, the coffee kiosk. All of those places have, for 2 years, given us donations, and I'm sure this year it will take. We're having it. You know, we have a gift. Thank you very much. And Joanne, who lives in Riversong with me, is willing to MC, and she gets people to toss a beanbag, and everybody gets to win and go home with your prize. At the moment, somebody said, "I don't want to stay until the prizes are given out." And we're like, "Oh, you get the prize instantly. You don't have to stay all afternoon." Oops. There it is. So this year, we've because Mike's on the board probably and helping with the celebration, we've decided to start to add the ecstatic dance that happens on Sundays from 11 to 1 to be a part of the river celebration. So there'll be at least that kind of music up at the end of Mary Lane, which is, it's a half a mile walk or so from the Hazelnut Grove. But we may also have a way of getting more concert or something up there that would go on into the afternoon. So add some more music and make that worth a travel. And the committee that's planning will be talking about what else might we need to do, another porta potty, some of the other logistics for making that work. A cab, yeah, pedal cab maybe. If you're interested in getting it on the ground floor, we're meeting on Fridays, the 2nd and 4th Fridays. It's on that piece of paper. There's an email that I tested it today. It comes to me, although it doesn't tell you that it came to me. It just, you write to the River Celebration, and it ends up in my mailbox. So if you have a question or you want to join us on the planning team, or you have ideas about a local business or a local group. Last year, Jan bumped into the Grange, and we talked to the Grange folks, and they came, and lots of people forgot that there's a Grange in the neighborhood. So it was, I think, gave them some good exposure. Any questions? Great. I think that's my last slide. Yeah. Thanks.
It's a great project, volunteering, short time period, and the people are fun, and it's fun.
And Riversong has a media home at 5:30 every Friday. So yeah, you could stay over and hang out with us.
Okay, next up is, be seated.
Cameron.
I'm Faye.
And I'm Tim.
And the three of us met all doing permaculture gardening work here in Eugene, and the three of us just got inspired to start a project that was like even more in alignment with our values, what we want to bring to the world. Yeah, so Deeply Seated's mission is to foster food sovereignty, community connection, and ecological regeneration, especially in the face of climate change and pervasive inequality within the world right now. And yeah, so we believe that food is being right, and that's why our intention our goal is to have everything that we grow be given away freely to community members. Yeah, so we use the deep mulch dry farming approach in the way that we grow our veggies. So we do like a thick layer of wood chips and then plant a thick layer of arborist wood chips and then plant into that and water it in. And then that's the only time that we water it through the entire growing season. And the plants are able to produce and everything. Yeah.
So far, so this is our second season that we are growing. And last year we started at the Alpha Baker Community Garden, a small test plot where we got to test different seed varieties and just really get to know this method really well. And it ended up working out really well. So currently we just finished developing a plot off of Flooring Lane that's going to be, or is much bigger. And that's going to be more of our distribution plot so that we have a lot more to grow in that space. And we just finished putting all the wood chips down last week and we're starting a fence around it. And then next Saturday. So Saturday, May 17th, we'll be doing our planting. And really just wanting to encourage people in the community here to come join us in any of these days to get to know each other more, and to know what we're doing, and really try to build a community for us.
Yeah, so last year was really successful, but the thing that we need for this project to work and to be able to expand to other plots is access to arborist chips. And this was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I reached out to pretty much every arborist that was listed in the Eugene Springfield area and had a hard time getting them. So we're needing several things for this to continue to work, but that's the highest one on the list. Is like we need to form a partnership with an arborist or multiple arborists that we can reliably know are going to deliver wood chips every year. In addition to that, we are looking for financial support via private donors or organizations. We are looking for in-kind donations. So this would be like if you have tools lying around that you don't use anymore, T-post, wiring, any kind of infrastructure that you'd be using on the plots. Of course, volunteers anytime that those days come up. And then also legal support. We have a plot on private land that we're going to be welcoming public onto. So we're needing a little help like drafting up a liability, something to protect us and protect the land as well. And then lastly, it's not like we're needing this, but we're really looking to partner with organizations that are aligned with what we're doing. And so, if anybody knows people or is a part of an organization that you think is aligned with what we're doing, we'd love to talk to you and see how we can collaborate. That's us. Any questions? Okay. Let's get. Give a drill. Sweet. Awesome. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Yes.
You said the plot is off Horn Lane. Could you describe where it is? If you have a cross street?
Sure. It's 1500 Horn Lane. It's basically it's along that tight S turn. You would drive right past where you turn off to go to the community center. Yeah. And instead of turning, you just go straight. So
down
it's
that
tough.
straight little road?
Yeah, it's stuck in. There's a little like brick wall kind of on the corner of the lane.
Multi-acre property.
It is a 3-acre property. Yeah. Yep.
Have you talked to Nathaniel Sperry Tree Service? Because they live in the neighborhood.
So I haven't spoken directly to Nathaniel, but I have called Sperry and they pretty kindly declined any kind of, but I would love to talk to Nathaniel directly. That would be amazing. Maybe he'd be open to it. But yeah, we have reached out to Sperry and yeah, they,
You know, one or owns the business.
oh, he doesn't. Okay. I bet he has a little sway though.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
How do you give your food away?
Sure.
Yeah, so we are currently in like an early stage partnership with Burrito Brigade and AKA Waste Taste. So we've donated before from last year some of our tomatoes to them to make burritos out of, and then I think we're kind of like working with them to see like as we up production like what their needs are, and we also are like distribution wise, we're hoping to have like harvest days with people on site with us, and that's what we're kind of trying to figure out legally. And yeah, so currently it's pretty small, so we're like small distribution wise, and then I think as we scale up, we're working with that and figuring out what a larger distribution will look like.
Just to add to that, these plots take us several years to really get going, just because the mulch will decompose and build soil. So looking at year 3 is really when things start to pick up actually in this process. But yeah, our hope is to be able to provide for the community for anyone that is wanting to be a part of it. So getting food directly to this community, and then also distributing your process, or maybe it's like anyone that wants to volunteer is helping the purpose to then distribute people who can then prepare the food for their.
Is that fair? Yes.
No, I was thinking, we're on Hard Lane 2, an acre, and have a big garden from Stara. And one of the things I'm wondering about is the food distribution part, because we have tons of lettuce right now. So if I get some, anybody wants it. But how this could maybe be a network for us gardeners to be able to distribute the food. We did the Burrito Brigade before too, but you know, it's really hard piecemeal to do that. But if we were coordinated, that might work out.
Yes, I'd be really excited, like, as we, like, get our feet under us more and more as an organization, like, once we kind of figure out that channel, I feel like it would be really interesting to also figure out how to move people into that, like, food system stream. Yeah.
Do you have a website, or how can we get in touch with you beyond this evening?
Their website is in progress, but we could collect emails and we can push on email listing that we have.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you get to do this full time, or are you like artists and have to have day jobs and do your gardening art?
Yeah, this is all, at this point, this is all volunteer. We're just,
Yeah.
we're not, we have jobs.
So can you declare your email so that?
Yeah, we
I've
have,
got all the contact information and information doing the newsletter.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Is the May 17th planting thing that you sort of invited us to, is that on Hard Lane or is that else?
Yep, that's on Hard Lane, 1500 Hard Lane.
That's at 1500 Hard Lane.
Yeah, and then probably we'll draft an email that can be like sent out to everyone.
Like what time?
Yes,
Yeah.
with way more details, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thank you all so much for having us. It was interesting.
Where do you get your plant starts? Do you raise those from seeds yourself? So, mix of both. So a lot of them are actually dry farm seeds in particular. And we have connections with certain people like the Dry Farm Institute we've been talking a lot with. So a lot of their suggestions on what seeds. So some of them are growing at home, and then a lot of them we're getting the starts also.
Yeah, Lively Farm, we're actually, Tom is helping us out getting some plants, but we're also paying him and reciprocating in some way. We've done a round of fundraising, and so we have that to kind of like get us started this year.
Would you like to come to the River Festival and have a table?
Absolutely. That's right. So I'd love to talk about that. So,
On that, thanks, guys.
yeah, thank you so much.
That's creative energy. Speaking of which, Mike Meyer will give you great opportunities to be creative and energetic.
Opportunities, okay. These multicolored flyers are what I'll attempt to describe about a few things going on in the community. My name's Mike, I'm on the board and a social worker here in town. And some of it was born out of that, wanting more community opportunities, really, for some of the people I work with. And several of these things are centered around the dance that's been mentioned a few times, that we have on Sundays down Mary Lane, right at the river. We have a gathering that's a very free-form and free gathering that's available to everybody. We started this, we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary, so we started it at the COVID era. And it was an attempt to connect with each other in a time of isolation. So we were 6 feet away from each other when this dance started. And that's really, as a social worker, that's the most difficult thing I see is isolation. And this community organization and bringing people together, I think, is so important for mental and emotional health. So it was in the spirit of that we formed that. We have a variety of activities down there with brand new flyers that I'm excited about that describes all those activities. And so, yeah, we have toys and playthings down there. You don't have to dance. You can come down there and just hang out. Community is pretty readily formed there, and we try to foster helping each other in that community in various ways. As we get to know each other, we have new people come right off the bike path. They come down and they see us, and they're curious what we're doing, and next thing you know, they're dancing sometimes. So there's that. And we've added in the morning, we now have a morning meditation and deep breathing exercises with Dennis, and then they jump in the river for Wim Hof deep breathing because it's cold. And so that panting, deep breathing happens, and that's just at the end of the breathing exercises. We have bubbles, which is a way of bringing the kids in. So it's a very kid-friendly event. And it's a dog-friendly event too. We like to say we invite all species there. And it's really been a blast to see that interact. And this comes out of the tradition of ecstatic dance. I loosely use the word tradition. It's something that's very prevalent in the Northwest. It morphed out of something called 5 Rhythms out of Olympia, Washington. And it's really free-form dance. If you've seen the Peanuts cartoon where they're all kind of dancing independently of each other, that's pretty much what we look like down there. And it's very welcoming, to say the least. We're just creating as we go along, really, even after 5 years. So it ebbs and flows in certain ways, but there's a core group there now that it has really evolved together, and it's been an absolute blast. So we do offer it for free, and I hope you'll tell friends and let each other know about it. And we're starting a little community garden area there too. So it's been decorated. We're asking people to harvest or bring something to it. So that's that. And then some other events that I'm working on. The house concerts were mentioned earlier. Thanks, Linda, for that. Basically, I produce a lot of folk music here in town, and most of it's at tsunami boats or other places outside the region. But we do have house concerts here in the river. So I have a blue calendar here. We're going to do a show at Becca's house this summer on Ivanhoe, right around. And these are nationally touring artists, and we're trying to bring them into the area to get some
exposure, and it's pretty exciting. But some of the people, I mean, we just grab them right off the I-5. Yeah. But it's just where Eugene is located is so conducive to having a lot of music here. So that's been a lot of fun. Two other events that are regularly at my house once a month. And one of them's coming up tomorrow night, and it's called the Climate Cafe. And this is where we get together and we talk about climate change from a standpoint of how it's affecting us. So this is kind of an emotional sharing with each other. We don't get too much into our opinions about climate change. It's more how it's impacting us in various ways. And it's kind of patterned after the Death Cafe, which I've noticed that's growing here in town. There's several Death Cafes now. And so this is something that's a national model also. And we're doing the Eugene chapter once a month. I don't think there are any other ones in Eugene. And we take an hour and a half to connect with each other as a group and really share the impact. And it's very moving. And by the end of the group, people feel really connected to each other. And you realize you're not alone in some ways that you're experiencing this. And then there's something called internal family systems, which is kind of the flavor of the month in mental health right now. It's a way of understanding our emotional landscape from a parts perspective. And so a lot of very prominent psychologists are talking about internal family systems. And this is a process group that we do once a month. And we learn about it. Half of it's educational and half of it's experiential as we get into internal family systems. And so that one we ask for donations, but it can be free if it needs to be free. The Climate Cafe is completely free. And last but not least, Jan and I have been talking about starting something new, but it's not that new because we did it in dance for several months, and I want to revive it. And it's called Many Hands. And this is where we identify needs in the community, and then we have many people get together for just 90 minutes. We limit it to an hour and a half, and try to help people who need landscaping help or help in the house that are particularly vulnerable citizens in one way or another. And it was pretty incredible what 10 to 12 people could do in an hour and a half. So we're purposefully limiting it to that amount of time, so it's not a huge commitment. And there are flyers there, and we're going to start it midsummer, about July. But we need help identifying where the needs are, in addition to people signing up for it to help. And so if you have any ways to help with not only the work, but also tools or anything like that, that would be great. So for all these things, I turned over one of those yellow flyers, and if you could sign your email with which one of those things you might be interested in, I'll put you on the email list. And yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, Becca has the best email list of all. She is a very comprehensive calendar.
So just a couple other things to mention. I also do connection exercises once a month. We do a potluck and connect with each other about various deep topics. And so that's an opportunity to connect with people, get to know each other. Another thing that I do is I do a lot of pagan rituals. So that's also on my event. These are usually outdoor rituals and connect to the community. All interests are welcome. And again, everything we do is either free or by donation. So yeah, everybody's welcome.
Any questions?
Has Many Hands already started? Have you already started meeting in a group setting, or it's
Not the latest
just launching
incarnation. Yeah,
starting it?
yeah, we're gonna try to restart it. But we did it for about half a year. And
You did here in Virginia.
yeah, and that was just part of the dance group that we did it. So now we want to do it as part of the community to offer to the community. So part of that, something I particularly like to do on the board is identify where the needs are in that. I think it's extremely important to understand when our community needs help and to share that information as much as possible. Honestly. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then the rest, we have Jan Spencer. He's done a lot of deep thinking. He probably heard talk about permaculture before, but he's been doing a lot of thinking about the relationship between that and community resilience. And so he wants the Stockton community to go into it. Go ahead.
Thanks, yeah. Yeah, thanks everybody for being here. I think we're going to get our program set up here. Just curious, how many people have been in my backyard? There's been in my backyard, there are a number of people. Yeah, well, there's another opportunity to do that on the 17th. This is a schedule of site tours and Zoom presentations coming up over the next few months. And there is a site tour here in River Road, but there are other site tours in other parts of Eugene as well. I'll get back to this a little bit shortly. So
It's down there, right here.
that one is it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very good. So I want to share some thoughts. They're my thoughts. This is not RRCO policy or anything. These are my thoughts, but I think that they fit in with a way a lot of people are thinking at the present time. A growing number of people are becoming interested in preparedness, resilience, and sustainability because social, political, and environmental conditions are looking increasingly uncertain all over the world. In this presentation, we'll take a short look at creating a more safe and secure home and neighborhood, but I don't see any painless exit from our current situation, but that's even more motivation to take initiative for creating a more resilient and moving towards sustainability. So I made this little chart right here. Preparedness can be seen as a first purposeful step towards the ideal of sustainability. We don't exactly know what sustainability is, but I think we can all agree we're not there right now and actually kind of headed in the other direction. So I see that there are several sort of general zones of movement towards sustainability. And where we are right now, we're starting off in what could be called a consumer culture. We grew up in the consumer culture. It is consuming immense amounts of energy and resources, and it has a consequence, not only an ecological consequence, but a social and economic consequence too. I'll mention that these Zoom presentations go into more detail. You can write books on this issue, but these Zoom presentations will go into more detail because there's not time to go into much detail right now. But the consumer culture, minimal addressing the basic problems. The basic problems is we're impacting the environment. And the next kind of step that I see as hopeful is preparedness, but mainstream standard preparedness is still reactive. It's saying, okay, let's get together a week or two or three, a month's worth of food and water, and all that's good. Everybody should be doing that. But it doesn't address the issues. It doesn't address the problems that's causing the need to be prepared in the first place. Of course, we read about the floods and the hurricanes and fires, and they're increasingly expensive and they're increasingly frequent all over the world too. Humans have a talent for putting themselves in the danger zone, and humans are creating more danger zones at the same time. So preparedness can improve our prospects in coping with disaster and disruption. It's helpful, not a put down of preparedness at all. It's a point of departure because preparedness acknowledges we're not in control. And we need to make plans with the go bag, and even also with knowing our neighbors and maybe having some kind of a collaborative plan. There are some city programs. Map Your Neighborhood is one that already exist to help facilitate that. But the actions of preparedness don't address the issues. So the outcomes is more of the same and worse in terms of these different types of disruptions and disasters that we're becoming more acquainted with, of course, including climate change. But as I said, there are social and economic issues as well. The difference between the haves and the have-nots, the homeless, I see just about all these issues are connected at some point. And when we start to address the causes, then we start to address a lot of different issues all at the same time, but it doesn't make them go away. We're kind of up a creek with a broken paddle right now, but that's all the more reason to make effort to move towards resilience. I see resilience is starting to be more proactive. It's a word that's becoming more and more frequently used as resilience. Does that mean we survive a disaster and we return to what we were doing before the disaster? The resilience gives us the opportunity to learn from what happens and maybe make some different plans, because these types of disruptions are already happening. And for these homes to be rebuilt in these danger zones, or homes to be rebuilt after the hurricane on the beach, we don't need to be doing that kind of stuff. So resilience is further along this kind of continuum towards sustainability. And I have a lot of actions here. Wow. Under resilience, one of the most important, of course, is reduce our ecological footprints. And I hope people have an opportunity to check out online this. It's a footprint calculator. And you can find online, there are a number of footprint calculators where you can take a look at your own lifestyle and answer the questions, and then punch this little item, and out comes a response that says, this is how many planet Earths it would take for everybody in the world to live like you. And I've done a few of those, and it could be a little bit of a jolt. So these actions, neighborhood associations are awesome the way they are. I love our neighborhood association and the program we have in the city. If they end the budget for it, it's a big loss, but we still have to carry on. But neighborhood associations have a huge role to play in moving towards sustainability. Here we are. And everybody who's had something to say up here so far, everybody fits into this chart right here. And just by the fact that we're here, we care something about where we live, but we have to up our game a whole lot. Neighborhood sustainability networks, permaculture trainings, site tours fit into the resilience column, the outcomes of resilience. We got lots of challenges no matter what we do, but the challenges of moving more towards resilience and sustainability, those are preferable to doing nothing. Doing nothing, and it's more of what we read about. The mayhem in Washington, D.C., I think that's only going to accelerate the trends that are already existing. So, but with luck, we might mitigate some of those disruptions that we're told are already baked in. Read articles, the sort of goal to have the rise in temperature sort of somewhat manageable. They're forgotten about that. Not going to happen. What's going to happen with climate change? But that's not the only issue. So towards sustainability, being more proactive, start to repair urban and rural locations. This is way beyond where we are right now, but there's little fragments of towards sustainability already. Public priorities go green. And of course, a lot of people are already making some of these changes. There are pioneers of a preferred future is the way I like to describe that. But the actions more of resilience, taking all these resilience actions and going much further. Just imagine, I'm writing a book called The Primer for Paradigm Shift right now, and I take a little bit of my imagination, and I sort of think, what if the American Association for Retired Persons and their 35 million members started reading about permaculture and the kinds of stuff that we've heard about here this evening? If they already kind of mainstream progressive, the AARP, but what if the Sierra Club started writing articles in their magazines about neighborhood gardens and front yard gardens and resilience networks? What if the Sierra Club is doing that? And tons of other organizations, because all these organizations, both local and national, exist to help make the society better in some way or another. I see them being all on the same team, and I see that we have an enormous horizontal movement that's just kind of waiting to discover itself. All these different organizations can be working more closely together. So the outcomes towards sustainability, again, challenging. There's no easy exit from where we are right now. All we can do, I think, is sort of improve our condition and try to have a good time doing it. I think ecstatic dance definitely fits in towards sustainability. Everybody who said something here fits in, but it takes more people and being more ambitious, because humans are better and we're worth more than what we experience every day. I'm just looking at the street out here, you know. We can do better than this. And a lot of people, more people are caring. So this refers back to last month's RRCO meeting. These are some of these Santa Clara River Road neighborhood plans. These are from public input, and these are some of the ideals that we're sort of blessed with, but it's kind of up to us to make these happen. I just want to read a few of the green ones. Promote home and neighborhood food production and storage through community education and outreach programs. Promote renewable energy resources. Educate and prepare for natural disasters. Plan for a transportation system that is future-oriented, environmentally responsible, and transitions to zero carbon. I wonder what that would look like. That would be absolutely amazing. This is in city documents. You can go online and you can find this. Build community support and participation in small scale resilience networks. Map your neighborhood and neighborhood watch. They're already kind of doing this. There's groups, little groups all over town that have been created by way of the city programs, and that's awesome. What I would love to see is the city programs begin to include a little bit of permaculture, a little bit of encouraging home food production and water storage and energy production, and a more ambitious kind of a social ideal going beyond what Map Your Neighborhood and Neighborhood Watch do already. They're very good programs, but they can become much more expansive. So just to kind of compare preparedness, we've seen pictures like this. You know, there's the radio, there's the water, there's some food, there's maybe a go bag, and all that's great. We should be doing all that. But resilience is looking a little bit more. There's a 3,000 gallon water tank. This is a picture from the river celebration, winter garden veggies. That was a meal I had a week ago. Greenhouses can extend the growing season. These are all fairly simple. And if people don't have the time or energy to transform their suburban property, we could create a lot of jobs for people who do have the interest in transforming suburbia and turning suburbia into something like maybe eco-villages. I really like this one, allies, assets, and actions. We have lots of allies We have lots of assets, and when we bring each two on this triangle together, you create more of the third. It's kind of a virtuous triangle is the way I like to see that. So here's a few items, aspects for moving towards resilience and sustainability. The upper left is the footprint calculator that I like the most by the Global Footprint Network. You can find it, answer the questions, and see what you come up with. You've got to be honest, you know. And then, of course, permaculture is a design system that can be extremely useful. And nothing magic about permaculture. It's kind of looks almost shocking because it's simply common sense. And what we're usually surrounded by is kind of not so commonsensical. But you can find out a lot about permaculture online. You take a permaculture course. I have a great fondness for this wisdom of the world's great spiritual traditions. This isn't the religion, it's the ideals of almost every great spiritual tradition. It's care for the natural world, modesty of lifestyle, service to the community, uplift of the spirit, and accountability. Does that sound kind of like some good ideals to organize a society around? I have mentioned before, block planning definitely fits in. We'll go into more block planning during these Zoom presentations. Invest, how do we prioritize and invest our own time and money? What do we do with our own time and money? Some people have plenty of time and plenty of money, but that is an enormously important aspect of what do we do with our own time and money? Invest in our community, invest in our own well-being in our neighborhoods. That makes sense. So go here. And here are just a few pictures, some site tours in River Road, some historical pictures. This one I always love, the Neighborhoods USA conference in Eugene in 2015. People from all over the country did a small permaculture tour of River Road from Birmingham, Alabama, from Roanoke, Virginia. And they just said, we had no idea people were doing this kind of stuff. So that's just some nice pictures. Building resilience. We have work parties in the Filbert Grove. Actually, there's a work party planned for the Filbert Grove Tuesday the 20th, I think. If anybody's interested, let me know. We have agreements with the city to do these kinds of projects on public property. That is one of the most right-on programs the city has, is to empower people in their neighborhoods to take on this, because the city can't do it. And the city shouldn't have to do all this. People need to make time to be involved with making their neighborhoods a better place. There's Men's Garden, there's River Road Park District, School Garden Project, work parties to restore Razor Park. Some of these ideals of resilience and moving towards sustainability, here are some of those examples right here. Brenda showed all these pictures from the river celebration. It's just such a fun time and a great opportunity. So this is a place we're going to be visiting. This is my property right here. We'll take a closer look. But this is a more resilient property. Is it going to make me comfortable and carefree when the dams break, or we have any other kind of earthquake or huge issue? Probably not, but it's going to be helpful. But the more people doing these kind of actions, the better. So it's great when a couple properties are making these kind of changes, but what happens if all the neighbors start getting on board doing this? This, of course, is just a fantasy. There's a little bit of this already in place. There's my house up there in the upper left. But I just did this kind of purple line. And just imagine that Patty, who's my neighbor, wants to go visit a friend over here. Wouldn't that be an awesome landscape to walk through with all this permaculture? We still have private property, but we make much better use, and the fences are kind of in the way. And there are some places I know of. Look up End Street Co-op. in Davis, California, and smaller version of this, but already doing something like this. We're going to do a site tour at East Blair Housing Co-op, and East Blair has some important characteristics of this kind of block planning as well. So some of these things we're going to actually see what they might look like. And we got to get even thinking bigger than this. This is a make-believe of Santa Clara Square. What if we think of these giant parking lots that are all over town, they're all over the country. I read that it's something like they take up Delaware and Maryland, would be paved over, something like that. But what if we built onto these parking lots mixed use, residential, and the kinds of services people need, affordable housing. So this is just sort of an imaginary what could be done with Santa Clara Square to make it sort of a neighborhood micro downtown. And you could do the same in South Eugene, you could do in the west, in the east, all over, turning parking lots into more ambitious use. And bits and pieces of this are already happening. People are turning dead shopping malls into more positive use as well. But we'll take a closer look at this on some of these Zoom presentations too. So here is one of my favorite, just maybe one or two more pictures, but here is one of my favorite places in the world. This is Kyle Ash Eco Village in Portland. And they have a website, Kyle Ash Eco Village. It's a mountain, it's a sacred mountain in the Himalayas. I always wonder where did they get that name? But it's Kyle Ash. But Ole and Maitreya bought a rundown, drug-infested apartment complex 15 years ago in southeast Portland. And this is what they've turned it into here in the lower right-hand corner. It is a pioneer of moving towards sustainability. They've done a lot of deep paving. This round garden right here, this one here used to be a parking lot. So there's a lot of skill building here too. Not only are they growing a useful amount of food, but the people who live there have to take on responsibilities because there's lots of moving parts to this. People are learning communication skills, they're learning management skills, they're learning the kind of skills useful for moving towards sustainability and moving towards resilience. So even better, what we have here is Kyle Ash, but over here, it just happened to be that the apartment complex next door kind of came up for sale also, a little bit bigger. There's about 50 people live at Kyle Ash. This is a little bit larger, but Ole and Maitreya mortgaged Kyle Ash so they could buy this apartment complex here. So this one's about 3 years into becoming an eco village. And I went to the Vegan Fest yesterday, and I actually talked with a guy who lives in Kyle Ash. He had a shirt on that said, "Kill your grass." So that sort of attracted my attention. Turns out he lives in Kyle Ash, and he actually is helping, with his work. So this is just a great example. There's thousands of apartment complexes all over the country that can turn into eco villages. There very well could be some right here in Eugene too. So this is just inspiring. They're a big part of safety and preparedness in their neighborhood. They have an intersection repair project, a mural in the street, kind of off to the side. You can't see it there, but I visited here a couple of times, and it's just a wonderful example of being creative and being positive. So here's the last picture. The last picture, preparedness is a very useful point of departure. There's no need for a tech breakthrough. The breakthrough comes in our own consciousness and what we do with our time and money. We have a lot of allies and assets to work with. Moving towards sustainability will not be easy, but it's a lot better than not doing anything. And positive human potential is our greatest renewable resource. So there's this, take a picture of this, join us for some of these, share that info with your friends, and thank you for being here.
Have 2 minutes for questions?
Comments, questions?
What needs to be done in the hazelnut? What needs to be done in the hazelnut grove?
Oh, it sends up sprouts every spring.
Okay.
And I've noticed, I was in there a few days ago with a weed eater going around the city. You can't get too close to the trees. So there's actually seeming to be an invasion more of English ivy. So there's plenty of stuff to do. But what's cool is that the city supplies gloves, knee pads, and the tools for these work parties. And the Randall Carson School is going to be there also. So this is just a great example of the city empowering people. But that will be 11 o'clock. Is Tuesday, is that 20th? Yeah, so anyway, everybody's welcome.
20th May. 20th May.
11.
May, this month.
Yeah, like just, we can have, or is it 2 weeks? It's like,
So just so you know, Jan is one of our resident experts on all of this stuff, and he has an international audience.
expert, because there's no degree in this.
And so we appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. Last pitch for tonight. Do you have a sign for your yard? Yeah, so you pick up, free sign right here. Get it. There you go.
Thank you.
And there's racks here too, so it goes up on your way out. You might have noticed that this meeting's a little different than a lot of meetings that we have. And so as your way out, if you could talk to one of the board members, raise your hand, board members, and give us feedback, what you thought about the meeting, that's appreciated. It's not me. And any final last minute announcements?
One very short announcement. Yeah. May is bike month.
Yay.
You can go on, Google that up, and you can find a lot of stuff going on in Eugene for bike month. They're having like coffee giveaways at the bridges. There are a lot of free rides. If you haven't gotten your bike out since last year, but it started raining, now's a good time to pump up the tires or put it on the back of your car and take it to a shop and get it fixed and bike because it's fun.
Yeah.
So I have some posters over here. Oops.
Oh, yeah.
That are free giveaways right here.
Also on the literature table, some bumper stickers that were given to me at Kimber's of the City. So you can use that for free.
I don't know. Okay, I have something there. Wasn't really quite.
Wait, can we wait for just a minute?
I don't know if any of you guys visited the falafel shop on River Road in the parking lot of the corner market, OG Corner Market. Anton was the man who ran the falafel cart, and he actually passed away a month and a half ago. So I just wanted to announce that. He was a part of our community, and it was a great place to get vegan food. He made the best waffles. I miss him. So anyway, I just want to share that with you guys. That card is going to be probably moved.
So you can connect up with the Deeply Seated. You can connect up with the River Celebration. You can connect up with Jan and all of our presenters as we disassemble now. Help